apart from the fighter jets made by the United States, are you interested in fighter jets made by other countries in the world? If you want to hear interesting stories about them, leave a comment to let us know. And if you only want to see American fighter jets, comment 1. Today's video will be about a French aircraft. Yes, its name is in the title of the video, Dassault Mirage F1, an aircraft that has emerged as the most successful military aircraft of France. Manufacturers built 726 units between 1966 and 1992. The fighter's capabilities impressed 14 different nations that added it to their arsenals. Its service record spans 5 remarkable decades. The Mirage F1's development marked a bold new direction in French aviation design. The team abandoned their traditional delta wing configuration that had defined earlier Mirage models. This transformation introduced breakthroughs that shaped fighter design for decades afterward. Now, let's start with the birth of the Mirage F1. Please listen and share with us. Does its birth remind you of any American aircraft? The delta wing legacy, what came before the Mirage F1? The story of France's aviation prowess started well before the Mirage F1 took to the skies. French government officials wanted a lightweight, all-weather interceptor to modernize their air force as the 1950s began. Dassault Aviation answered with a breakthrough design that would reshape European fighter development. The Mirage III came to life in late 1955 as a remarkable engineering achievement. This single-engine fighter featured a distinctive delta wing setup and a fuselage carefully shaped by the area rule principle. Such a groundbreaking mix-cut drag at transonic speeds substantially, helping the aircraft reach new performance heights. The Mirage III wrote its name in history books on October 24, 1958. It became the first Western European combat aircraft to reach Mach 2 in horizontal flight. This achievement highlighted France's growing tech capabilities in an era where American and Soviet aviation ruled the skies. Delta wing design made the Mirage III's impressive performance possible. German wartime research first explored this aerodynamic concept, which let the aircraft hit supersonic speeds with minimal drag. The design worked much better than straight-winged jets common in aerial combat back then. The delta wing's large root chord balanced low relative thickness with a strong wing spar, creating a lightweight structure. This setup also created plenty of room to store fuel inside, even with thin wings. The Mirage III could carry 43% more internal fuel than the F1 that came after it. The delta wing removed any need for a horizontal stabilizer because it naturally stayed stable in pitch. Simpler construction meant less weight and complexity, which helped the Mirage III perform exceptionally well. Combat operations proved the Mirage III's worth quickly. The Israeli Air Force used it as their main air superiority fighter, and it performed brilliantly during the 1967 Six-Day War. Air forces worldwide flew these planes, including Brazil, Lebanon, South Africa, Argentina, Pakistan, Spain, Australia, and Switzerland. The delta wing setup, despite its breakthroughs, created several big problems that eventually required a new approach. Changing operational needs made these basic limitations more obvious. Takeoff and landing performance suffered serious restrictions from the delta wing. Ground attack missions posed another challenge, where precise handling at low altitudes mattered most. Flying close to the ground caused significant buffeting because of the large wing area and resulting low wing loading. Pilots found it harder to deliver weapons accurately while dealing with increased workload during critical mission phases. The Mirage III stands as a remarkable achievement that shaped fighter design for decades. Its delta wing setup put Dassault on the map as a top aircraft maker and taught vital lessons for future combat aircraft development. This delta wing legacy created both technical foundations and a clear need for change. While the Mirage III excelled as an interceptor, modern warfare needed a more flexible platform. This reality pushed Dassault toward bold new ideas with the Mirage F1. The Mirage F1 showed just how far technology had come. It could fly rings around the Mirage III. Tests showed the F1 turned better, needed 30% less runway to take off, and approached 25% slower. It also climbed more than twice as fast as the Mirage III. Marcel Dassault's controversial vision for a new fighter. Marcel Dassault had already proven himself as an aviation genius by the early 1960s through the success of the Mirage III. Notwithstanding that, he knew the delta wing design would restrict future performance improvements. The French Air Force needed an interceptor that could approach for landing at less than 140 knots, something impossible with the existing delta wing design. Dassault started by exploring larger swept-wing versions of the Mirage III, called the Mirage F2 and F3. These designs showed promise, but he ended up focusing on a more compact single-seat version that would become the Mirage F1. This new aircraft managed to keep similar dimensions to the Mirage III while featuring completely different aerodynamics. The change from delta to swept wing meant more than just a new design. It showed a complete rethinking of French fighter philosophy. The new setup allowed for an extraordinary lift increase through leading-edge nose and double-slot flaps, features that proved hard to add to the thin wings of supersonic aircraft. Dassault's own company strongly opposed his decision. Engineers who had spent years perfecting the delta wing concept couldn't accept abandoning their signature design. The delta wing had become a symbol of French fighter excellence and Dassault's reputation in global aviation. Several competing projects made this resistance even stronger. Dassault worked on the Anglo-French variable geometry project at the same time, aiming to create a swing-wing fighter with British Aircraft Corporation. Some company members questioned splitting resources between these projects. Marcel Dassault worried about the Anglo-French variable geometry collaboration, especially his company's lower position compared to British Aircraft Corporation. This threatened Dassault's long-term goal to become a leading prime contractor for combat aircraft. So he started working against the Anglo-French variable geometry project while pushing forward with his vision for the Mirage F1. Marcel Dassault showed remarkable conviction by funding the Mirage F1's original development mostly with company money. This matched his earlier approach with the Mirage III, where he launched a realistic prototype using his funds while convincing authorities to let him use parts from existing projects. This self-funding approach gave him the freedom to follow his vision without government interference. The French military would later embrace the aircraft, but the early development followed Marcel's vision rather than committee specifications. His gamble paid off big time. The Mirage F101 prototype took its first flight at Melun-Villaroche on December 23, 1966, with René Bigand at the controls. Just 2 weeks later, on January 7, 1967, the aircraft hit Mach 2 on its fourth flight, proving Marcel's controversial design choice was right. The initial testing phase met with tragedy when the prototype's horizontal stabilizers broke away during a low-altitude, high-velocity pass. The crash near Fos-sur-Mer killed Dassault's chief test pilot, René Bigand. The accident nearly killed the program, but the French government's faith in the design remained strong. They ordered 3 pre-production aircraft soon after. Marcel Dassault's conviction, technical insight, and financial commitment launched what would become one of France's most important fighter aircraft. The Mirage F1 ended up proving that leaving the delta wing behind wasn't just justified, it was essential for French aviation's continued development. Engineering challenges. Designing the Mirage F1 fighter. Dassault's engineers faced huge technical challenges while developing the Mirage F1. They needed to move away from the delta wing design that made earlier Mirage aircraft famous. This meant finding new ways to keep supersonic speeds while making the plane easier to handle. Building a swept wing that could hit Mach 2 speeds was no small feat. The Mirage III's delta wing naturally cut down drag at supersonic speeds. The F1's new swept wing design needed careful engineering to balance all the forces at play. The team looked back at German research from the 1930s and 1940s. These studies showed how wing sweep could delay compressibility drag that happens when planes fly faster than 500 miles per hour. The high-mounted, twin-spar swept wing let the F1 match the Mirage III's impressive Mach 2 plus speed while fixing its weak points. The team worked hard to design wings that worked well at both low speeds and supersonic cruise. They had to calculate the exact sweep angle that would hold off shockwaves without making the wings too weak. The swept wing design helped store more fuel inside the wings. This boosted the F1's fuel capacity by 43% compared to the Mirage III. The extra fuel was a game changer. It let the plane fly 40% further on missions. The Mirage III's delta wing design had one big drawback. It needed high landing speeds and long runways. Pilots had to deal with high pitch at high speeds when landing, which often led to crashes when less experienced pilots were at the controls. The team created a wing that could lift much more at low speeds to fix this safety issue. The F1 could now approach for landing 25% slower than the Mirage III. This meant pilots could safely land at about 125 knots, much safer than the dangerously fast landings needed before. These changes made a real difference in the field. The F1 needed half the runway length of the Mirage III. This let it work from shorter airfields, a huge tactical plus. The plane could also take off 30% faster, which was crucial for interceptor missions. The F1's high-lift system was its crowning achievement. Putting lift-boosting devices on thin supersonic wings was incredibly tough. Dassault called it gruelingly difficult. The solution combined several advanced features working together: full-span split leading-edge slats deployed by themselves to help the plane turn tighter during fights. This automatic system was advanced for its time and helped pilots make tight turns without manual work. The engineers added split double-slotted trailing-edge flaps to work with the leading-edge slats. These systems together gave what Dassault called extraordinary lift increase. The result? The F1 could maneuver 80% better than the Mirage III in combat. It could literally fly rings around the older plane. Twin perforated spoilers sat on top of the wing just ahead of the trailing edge flaps. All these lift-boosting parts working together gave pilots amazing control no matter how they were flying. Dassault's advanced engineering turned a bold idea into a fighter that could both zoom at Mach 2 and land safely on short runways. These abilities proved invaluable when the F1 went to war. The Mirage F1 program's early triumph turned into tragedy after a promising test flight ended in disaster. This fatal accident tested Dassault's determination and almost derailed one of France's most vital fighter projects. The fatal test flight, René Bigand's sacrifice. On May 18, 1967, René Bigand was conducting a low-altitude, high-velocity pass in the Mirage F1 prototype. He'd been Dassault's chief test pilot since 1959. A routine practice for an upcoming display turned into catastrophe. The aircraft ran into a dangerous aerodynamic phenomenon known as flutter during this vital test. Flutter stands as one of aviation's most feared instabilities. This destructive force happens when positive feedback develops between an aircraft's structural deflection and its aerodynamic forces. Flutter creates an oscillation that escalates faster and becomes impossible to control. The Mirage F1 prototype couldn't survive this phenomenon. The horizontal stabilizers broke away from the airframe as the aircraft sped through its test run near Fos-sur-Mer. The structure failed in an instant. Bigand had no chance to regain control. The prototype crashed, taking the life of this skilled test pilot who had completed first flights for many aircraft including the Mirage IV, Mirage IIIB, and Mystère 20. Later technical analysis showed the aircraft had encountered divergent vibration. Unlike mild flutter that might feel like a buzz in an aircraft structure, this severe case developed faster. The complete structural failure happened before anyone could intervene. The Mirage F1 program took a devastating hit with the loss of both the prototype and Dassault's chief test pilot. Most aerospace projects would have ended after such a catastrophic failure early in development. The crash came just 5 months after the aircraft's maiden flight on December 23, 1966. Bigand had managed to keep pushing, reaching Mach 2 speed on January 7, 1967. The French government showed remarkable faith in the design concept. Officials approved an order for 3 pre-production aircraft, designated Mirage F1, 02, 03, and 04, with the more powerful ATAR 9K50 jet engine. This showed exceptional confidence in Dassault's engineering team and their ability to fix the fatal flaw. Engineers got nearly 2 years to take a closer look at the flutter problem and create solutions as flight testing stopped until March 1969. This full review led to stronger structures and design changes that made sure the aircraft could operate safely within its performance limits. The whole ordeal highlighted a significant reality of aerospace development. Testing new configurations comes with inherent dangers. Flutter testing remains a vital part of aircraft certification. Engineers must check a plane's structural integrity step by step, at increasing speeds up to 115% beyond design limits. Bigand's sacrifice wasn't wasted. The lessons from the fatal crash helped the Mirage F1 succeed later. The redesigned aircraft served with excellence in multiple air forces, proving Marcel Dassault's vision was sound despite its rough start. From Interceptor to multi-role, the Mirage F1's evolution. The Mirage F1 started as a specialized interceptor in the early 1970s and grew into a versatile multi-role platform. Air forces worldwide used it with great success for almost 5 decades. The French Air Force welcomed its standard Mirage F1C in 1973. This all-weather, all-altitude air defense fighter became France's main interceptor with a fleet of 162 aircraft. Though the F1C excelled at air superiority, it could handle ground attacks too. The F1C's 7 external load points under its wings and fuselage let it carry different types of weapons. 2 kept the 30mm DFA cannons and Mach missiles on the wingtips made up its basic weapons. The aircraft got even better at air combat after 1979 when the old R-530 missile gave way to the Mach Super 530F. The F1C proved its worth in reliability. Early problems with availability didn't last long. Engineers fixed these issues, and the plane earned its reputation as a dependable fighter. The French Air Force kept using the F1C as its main interceptor until the Mirage 2000 came along. France created a special F1CR reconnaissance version that first took to the skies on November 20, 1981. This variant packed sophisticated sensor equipment that changed what it could do. The F1CR carried special gear inside and out. A SAT SCM-2400 Super Cyclope infrared line scan unit took the place of one 30mm cannon. The plane's nose housed a special bay that could fit either a Thompson TRT-40 panoramic camera or a Thompson TRT-33 vertical camera. Special pods made the plane even more capable. These included the Raphael TH side-looking airborne radar, ASTAC ELINT and RP-35P optical reconnaissance pod. The F1CR kept its fighting spirit with one 30mm DFA cannon and could still carry Magic II air-to-air missiles. The Mirage F1 soared in international markets with about 473 planes sold to other countries. Each export version came with its own special features based on what buyers needed. The F1A day attack fighter had a slim nose with AETA-2 radar that worked great in tropical weather, where combat rarely stopped due to conditions. Spain got the F1CE, Greece flew the F1CG, and South Africa chose the F1CZ. Dassault stuck to its customer is always right approach throughout production. This meant buyers could ask for special changes. Libyan and Iraqi aircraft got HF radio antenna extensions, and some planes received advanced gear like the Thompson CSF Sherlock Digital RWR. Of course, when talking about a fighter jet, we cannot ignore its performance on the field. After being put into service, the Dassault Mirage F1 quickly proved its combat capabilities on many fierce battlefields. Not only serving in the French Air Force, the Mirage F1 also participated in many conflicts around the world, from the Gulf War to conflicts in Africa and South America. So how did this fighter perform in real combat? Let's find out. Battlefield proven, the Mirage F1 in war. The Mirage F1 proved its worth in multiple conflicts from Angola to the Persian Gulf. Its innovative design features showed exceptional value under fire. The South African Air Force used both F1CZ interceptors and F1AZ attack variants during the border war in Angola. The first 5 F1CZs arrived in Southwest Africa, Namibia, in November 1978. These aircraft escorted reconnaissance flights over southern Angola. Major Johan Rankin scored the first combat success on November 6, 1981. two F-1CZs intercepted Angolan MiG-21s during Operation Daisy. Rankin shot down one MiG with cannon fire after his missiles failed to lock on. He claimed another MiG-21 on October 5, 1982. He damaged it first with a Magic AAM and destroyed a second MiG using cannon fire. The South African Air Force Mirages faced intense opposition throughout the conflict. The F-1AZs completed 683 combat sorties, while enemy forces fired more than 100 surface-to-air missiles at them. The South African Air Force lost two F-1AZs over Angola, one to an SA-13 Gopher Sam and another crashed at night. Iraqi Mirage F1s achieved their greatest victories against Iran's powerful F-14A Tomcats. Iraqi F1s flew specialized Giraffe missions, named after their unique flight profile. They managed to shoot down 4 Iranian F-14s between 1981 and 1988. Iraqi F-1 fighter bombers excelled beyond air combat. They executed maritime strike missions during the tanker war phase and targeted Iranian shipping and oil facilities. Their French-trained pilots conducted long-range precision strikes against infrastructure. The raid on Neca thermal power plant stands out as it required a 2-hour flight through enemy airspace. French Mirage F1CRs joined Operation Daguerre, the French component of Desert Storm. In 1990, 12 F-1Cs were deployed to Qatar, while 4 F-1CRs went to Saudi Arabia. The French F-1s stayed grounded during the first 3 days of Allied air attacks to avoid friendly fire incidents with Iraqi F-1s. They flew their first combat mission on January 26, 1991, after receiving clearance. F-1CRs led formations of French Jaguar fighter bombers and gathered vital intelligence. French Mirage F-1s completed 114 combat sorties by the war's end. Several F-1CRs later moved to Turkey as part of Operation Provide Comfort to protect Kurdish populations. The Mirage F-1's daring departure from tradition shaped French fighter design for generations. This game-changing aircraft created new design principles that would guide Dassault's approach to aircraft development over the next several decades. The F-1 transformed Dassault's approach to fighter development. Before the F-1, they focused mainly on delta-wing interceptors. Later, the company adopted a more flexible philosophy based on versatility. This move toward incremental development and frequent prototypes became Dassault's signature method. The F-1 showed that breaking from tradition could create better results. Dassault became more willing to try radical designs, including their privately funded Mirage 4000 twin-engine fighter. This legacy of advancement continues with today's Rafale, which keeps the F-1's focus on adaptability while using advanced technology for modern combat. Thanks for watching. Did you find the Mirage F1 story boring? If so, please tell us why. If you found the video even a little satisfying, please like it. If you feel something is wrong, please leave a comment so the channel team can improve it. And if you already know about the Mirage F1, which American fighter jet do you think is better than? We would love to hear from you. Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.